turn my little side table into a nautical map, old worldly kind of little table. So I washed it and I gave it a good sand, and then I was ready to start looking at how I was going to put the maps on the top. I took some old decoupage papers and I placed them roughly where I would like to put them. Once I was happy, I then got some water and I just watered around the sides of the paper so I could tear it off. Tearing it off just gives you a much nicer look, more oldly, like an old map rather than a square, something that came out of a book. So you just gently keep taking bits off, more water where you want to rip it off, less water, so you can just get a nice little design. Once I was happy with what I had done, I was able to put it aside and start painting the little table. I grabbed some blues and some blacks and a lot of water. I mixed it all up on a little piece of paper, as you can see, and I just started layering the paint. The paint comes out dark at first, but once you've done a couple, and then once it's dried, it's not as dark. So you just got to keep doing layers until you're satisfied with the color that you want. I wanted a really nice brown, but I wanted to be able to see the grain still through the little table. So I did the body of the stool, the side table. Well, I guess it's a little stool or a side table. You could use it for anything really. It's just such a cute little design of a table. It's quite an old little table that I had. I had bought it a long time ago. So I glued down the maps. I used some also Glad wrap or cellophane to make sure that you get all the air pockets out, and this way you just don't rip the piece of paper on top. Glued the sides. I wanted to make it look like it had fallen and just been sitting there for a long time. I was really happy with the design. Then I used resin. The reason I used resin on the top was because it was a top and there was paper and it was uneven surface. I wanted to make it really nice and neat. I put some tape around the sides so when I poured the resin on, it doesn't go over the side, and you get a nice little thin, very, very thin layer of resin. Once the thin layer was dry, I was able to then do the sides, another layer on the top and do the sides. I really liked the maps. So I started pouring the resin. You just make sure you follow the instructions with resin. Every resin is different, and make sure you mix it well. This is really, really important. I have done it before on another project where I didn't mix it properly and it never dried. It was a disaster. So I've learned the hard way. Pour the resin on and I would just work at it. So I just kept putting a little bit at a time. I didn't want to overdo it. So I just would spread it gently, pour a little bit more, spread it a little bit more, pour a little bit more, until I was really, really happy with how much resin there was on there. I didn't want to cake it on. I still wanted it to look like the top of a table, not like there was a layer of plastic or, plastic on top. Once I was happy, and then I just let it sit. If you just let it sit, the resin will fill in all the gaps and it looks amazing. I took it outside to give it a nice sand. It was a little rough, so I just wanted a really smooth look on the top. Not too smooth because I did want it to look a little bit old, like it'd been used. So I gave it a good sand. Then I gave it a good clean, took all the resin off the top, and my little table was almost ready to put back together. And here she is. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like the table, and I will see you later. Thank you for watching.